with items pulled from consent, and we have item D11, which is a resolution of the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors dissolving the Humboldt County Housing Trust Fund and Homelessness Solutions Committee. And I'm going to read the entire resolution, and I just want to say thank you to all the citizen volunteers who have taken part in this committee over the last 5 years. You've done amazing work. We couldn't do our work without you, and with all the changes happening where the funding's coming and other things, it seemed like time to go ahead and wrap this part up. But there's going to continue to be a lot of opportunity for input and engagement with the public and all of the various groups helping our community through our continuum of care and all the other programs associated with that. So I'll read the resolution. Whereas on February 27th, 2018, the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors adopted resolution number 18-14, which established the Housing Trust Fund and Homelessness Solutions Committee. And whereas on July 24th, 2018, the Board of Supervisors rescinded and replaced that resolution through adoption of resolution 18-73. And whereas the Housing Trust Fund and Homelessness Solutions Committee has dedicated a tremendous amount of time, energy, and expertise for over 4 years to the effort of working to find solutions for housing and homeless solutions. And whereas due to the changes in funding and homeless and housing solutions, the need to consolidate efforts with less duplication has become apparent. And whereas state and federal discretionary homelessness solutions funding available to Humboldt is awarded to the local continuum of care known as the Humboldt Housing and Homeless Coalition, for which the County of Humboldt serves as the administrative entity. And whereas the Humboldt Housing and Homeless Coalition is a body open to public participation and input on spending priorities, and whereas the Humboldt County Department of Health and Human Services will provide an annual report to the Board of Supervisors about the performance of the Humboldt Housing and Homeless Coalition, including, without limitation, its involvement in the community input process. And whereas matching funding made available through the state for a local housing trust fund dictates the administration of such funds through guidelines and procedures that include public participation for recommendations of funding through the Board of Supervisors. And whereas the formation of a regional housing trust fund would require multi-jurisdictional coordination and a separate multi-jurisdictional process for recommendations on funding that involves a robust community input process. And whereas the Board of Supervisors encourages public participation in all funding decisions made thereby through the regular agenda process, now therefore the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors hereby resolves as following: that resolution number 1873 is hereby rescinded in its entirety, and the Housing Trust Fund and Homelessness Solutions Committee is hereby dissolved, and we thank them for their service. They really have been doing an amazing job, meeting monthly for over 4 years, working tirelessly to try and come up with solutions, working with county staff and other groups, nonprofits, et cetera, in our community. We know the problems have not gone away, and really what we're trying to do, as this resolution states, is try and be more efficient with everybody's time in moving forward. So with that, I just wanted to see if Director Beck or Director Ford wanted to make any comments on this before I open up to public comment. They've both been very involved in helping us with this committee. Thank you. Director Beck, welcome.
Thank you, Chair Madrone. Connie Beck, Health and Human Services Director. I think I'd just say I appreciate all of the time of all of the members and the staff that have spent on these regular meetings, and I look forward to us moving forward with Regional Trust Fund or other possibilities that we have in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Beck.
Thank you, Chair Madrone. John Ford with Planning and Building. I'd like to echo Director Beck's comments. I know that the people who have served on the committee have been deeply passionate, and truly care about solving the homelessness issue and providing housing, and change is hard. And so really respect what they've done, respect their perspective, and the foundation and framework that they've laid. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ford. And so with that, we'll go to public comment in the Zoom. Do we have any hands up, Nikki?
Chairman Drone, I see no hands up in Zoom.
No hands up in Zoom on this item. Anybody here in the audience today who would like to make a public comment? I know Lynn Martinez, the chair of this committee, wanted to be here today, but was not able to, and has expressed her deep appreciation to all the committee members and the county staff who have helped with this. And a lot of changes in the last 4 years have occurred. So with that, any public comment from those in the audience? We didn't have any there. And I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Arroyo.
Thank you, Chair Madron, and folks who have helped shepherd this from the staff level and those who have volunteered on it. I got a number of calls and questions about this from folks who were concerned that we were deprioritizing these issues, and I assured them that the intent was really to reduce duplication of effort, and that a lot of the folks who participate in this also participate in our housing and homeless coalition meetings, and so. And I encourage the folks who reached out to participate in these housing and homeless coalition meetings, which are open to the public, and the agenda does state this, but just to make sure everyone's clear, this does not mean we're deprioritizing our housing trust fund or homeless services, but it does mean that those meetings will be a more concentrated group of folks who will have these meetings on a, right now it's a quarterly basis, but I believe it's flexible based on the needs. So I just wanted to state that doesn't mean we're turning away from these priorities in any way. And I also want to reiterate thanks for those committee members.
Great, thank you very much. Any other comments from the board? Supervisor Wilson?
First, I'd like to make a motion to accept staff's recommendation, if that's possible.
And I'll second.
Thanks. And then I want to speak to one of the advancements that's occurred. One of the reasons we did the committee in the way that it was, with sort of two missions with relationship to homelessness and housing, was that we just really didn't have a good handle on the funding was very mushy at the time, in terms of like it just was all kind of coming in into one pot. We really have since, and especially with the help of the commission and the help of this board and the committee, there has been a big expansion of dedicated funding, both for homelessness work that's being done, and we're seeing really big response with relationship to that and things being built, but then also with the Housing Trust Fund. There's a lot of good efforts interjurisdictionally with relationship to discussions around a regional housing trust fund, but also I want to thank the board for, through the TOT, creating a dedicated funding stream for our housing trust fund. I think it's really important. It's a big accomplishment to get over that hump, and I really appreciate the board's efforts on that. And also there is funding at the state specific for that now too. So there's just the funding streams are definitely they're in their lanes more these days, and so people who want to work on one or the other have places to go to do that, and there's stuff happening. So I just want to appreciate everyone's past efforts and encourage everyone to stay involved and move forward with these as we go forward. Thanks.
Okay, any other board comments? Okay, it looks like, go ahead, Supervisor Bone.
And on these extreme weather nights and everything else, I make a habit of calling, and there is still space available at the rescue mission and places on all these extreme weather nights. And I'll apologize now, there are some rules you have to follow, but there is housing available, and so hopefully people that are in a dire straits are taking advantage of it.
Thank you, Supervisor Bone. Any other additional comment from the board? I will just highlight real quickly that in this resolution, it does ask that DHHS provide us with an annual report on how our systems are working, you know, because there is a lot of concern that people want to still make sure that they have access to provide input and help solve problems, and I know DHHS is committed to that, so I think that's great. So on an annual basis, we'll be getting an update from DHHS on how our systems are working in regards to this. So with that, we have a motion and a second. We've taken comment. Supervisor Bone?
And not to put Director Beck on the spot, but I'd sure like to have it more like quarterly or something else. This is not an issue we can look at every year. This is an issue we look at every day on a personal basis, and I'd like to know what progress is being made and what we can do to help those situations. I know they've been working. We have a couple big things that are going to be popping real soon. They're going to open a lot of eyes that I know Connie and her team have worked on tirelessly for the last 4 years, but it'd be nice to get at least quarterly updates on real shortly of what we're doing. I saw that annual report, and I'm going, hopefully there's 4 more reports in between that one. So
Thank you very much, Supervisor Bone. And Supervisor or Director Beck, does that seem reasonable and doable?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. Annually is a long time, so quarterly reports with an annual detailed. So thank you for that. So we have our voting blocks up, so we'll give it a try. Can we all go ahead and vote and try our system here?
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Yay, that's a first for this
all worked.
board. Only took us 3 months. Yeah, right. I know, it seems silly, but this is a big deal for us. All right, thank you very much for that.
I know.
Okay, with that, we're now moving